Yo, welcome to Ed Media. Well, today is Halloween. So today, we are going to wish Grassy wins TPOT. Okay, that is way too scary. How do I come up with the Halloween video this year? Oh right, I don't even have a Halloween costume, which is why I'm not in the Halloween spirit. In order to get in the right spirit, my costume will be based on someone from a very spooky and scary and horror series. Okay, I'm ready.
Whoa, what the fuck are you wearing?
Ib Media? What are you doing here? Your time is over.
Not because why do you have that costume on? What the fuck are you supposed to be?
I'm Pomni. From the amazing digital circus. It's this horror series where she's trapped in a digital circus with other people. So that's why I'm dressed up as her, because her show is a psychological horror. And Halloween loves horror.
Well, you look chopped.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that looks pretty trash. You look like a thirst trapper.
Who are you?
I'm Martha.
Hold on, you have never told me your name before even though we have worked since my birthday in 2024, and secondly, where have you been? The last time you showed up in a video was Christmas of last year. The viewers probably don't recognize you.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I've been on break because I didn't know when was the perfect time to appear, but I do enjoy harassing you for your costumes.
Yeah, that's all you do. Not one holiday video where you didn't show up shutting down my peak costumes.
That's because they were ass with a side of booty cheeks. Anyways, even the Sonic costume last year was better than this.
Yo, you actually wore a Sonic costume? Man, you really are obsessed with him.
Everyone shut up. Look, if I wear a basic Halloween costume, will you guys go away?
Yeah, sounds fine to me.
Sure, whatever, just let me know when I host the next video. I was preferred over you, lol.
Wait, since when did you host a video? I've been here longer.
Okay, everybody leave now. I'm gonna change to another Halloween costume and you guys will leave. Damn, all this overdressing up as Pomni, you guys don't know anything. There, I'm a vampire.
There we go, was it that hard?
Anything is too hard for him.
Now that I'm in the Halloween spirit, the right video idea is coming to me. Yes, I feel it in my veins. It's all coming together. Today we will be analyzing a scary and threatening character present in TPOT. Someone who has truly shown to be a terrifying presence in the show and responsible for numerous spooky atrocities. That character is One. One is currently the most powerful and biggest threat in the game right now. And I gotta say, she has amped up her spookiness and is proving to be pretty intimidating. But what exactly is it that makes her spooky? Well, today, I want to analyze One. I believe that the thing that makes One spooky is the numerous atrocities she has committed, and how she has serious issues. After TPOT 20, I wholeheartedly believe One is the absolute most intimidating character and can actually deliver on her presence, and in this spooky video, we will be going over what makes One scary and how she's so threatening. We will be commencing the very first character analysis in Ed Media. So let's get started.
Found you!
Instead of going over the history of One episodically, I think it would be better to go over it chronologically, like a timeline. This section will be split into 4 subsections. First we will look at her before TPOT. Then we will go over her up until TPOT 11. Then up until TPOT 15, and then finally the rest of the episodes. I chose this structure because I want to list some key elements and moments in each group of episodes, and these groups of eras for One show a different side of her, so let's get begin. Algebralians have always existed and lived in the equation playground. They don't do anything except play around and just hang out together. All except poor little One. Everyone got along except her. Why was that? Well, it's most likely that she was shy and was too afraid to reach out to someone, but it could also be the fact that simply the Algebralians had already chosen their best friend, and unfortunately, One wasn't any of theirs. It's hard to tell for how long One was excluded, but it was long enough for One to wholeheartedly believe the other numbers would be happy without her, so it's safe to say she was alone with no friends for a very long time. Despite being alone, it was still clear the other numbers cared about her. So while she wasn't alone, she certainly did feel alone. She kept this to herself up until 2009. She continues being alone and not able to form a connection with anyone. As she goes off on a walk, she sees an asteroid crash into their planet. She goes off to investigate and uncovers a huge batch of Yoelita. As she tries figuring out what this is, she takes her anger out on it and notices that when a chunk fell out of it, some strange energy emitted. With this impressing her, she plays around with it until once again, she takes her anger out and begins to stretch her muscles into her foot, which drains the power from the Yoilita into her. She begins testing what kind of powers she could have possibly obtained. After trials and errors, she once again takes her anger out, but she notices that she was able to move the rock with her mind. This makes her able to have the ability of telekinesis. She begins to fantasize how everyone else will be impressed, so she goes off to show off her powers. After struggling on deciding how she will ask 3 to join her, she is able to get 3 to follow her and shows her the Yoilita. Some key moments in this interaction is that 1 only wants to show 3 her powers, she only wants to impress 3, she does not intend on sharing the powers with her, nor dream of what they could do, she just wants to impress. She shows 3 her telekinesis intended as a secret, and also explains how, but as soon as 3 goes for a touch of the Yoilita, 1 gets hostile and begins getting mad at 3 for trying to study it. 3 explains to her that she has never seen anything like it before and just wanted to study it with 1. 1 takes this as her and 3 being a duo with the powers. So 1 then teaches 3 how to obtain powers from it and they both begin to play around. 1's power grows stronger and she learns teleportation as well. They continue having fun until 3 gets tired and they both head off to bed. 1 sees this as an opportunity to impress everyone so she can finally be friends with them, but she doesn't intend on giving the powers to them. When 1 wakes up, she notices that everyone is gone. She searches and ends up where the Yoilita is, only for her to be horrified at the sight of everyone having powers. 3 has shown everyone her powers, now everyone has some. 1 sees this as betrayal. In 1's mind, she showed the powers as a secret and intended it for her and 3 only, so she could finally impress everyone. But with everyone now having the powers, and 3 being the one to show them, 1 sees this as betrayal. This not only breaks her, but shatters her. She feels left out once again, and betrayed by someone she thought as a friend, her only friend. So with her shattered self, she begins to grow rage. Pent-up rage that has been built up for so long after loneliness and sadness. When a thunderstorm hits, all the Algebralians return back and 3 provides some cover with a tree. As they all pile up under and begin conversing, 1 sees them all, no longer wanting to join them, just angry. 3 calls to 1 to join them, but instead of 1 appreciating the affectation, like she would have done since this is the first time someone has called her to join them, she can't see that due to her shattered self overcoming her. She tried causing harm to 3. They both begin arguing as 1 tells 3 that she only showed the powers to her for the both of them. That it was meant to be a secret just for the both of them, and that they both would have had fun. But 3 assures her that this is a great opportunity for all of them and their lives are now changed due to this power, and if she can't see that, then 1 should leave. With this breaking angering 1 even more, she begins to unlock a new power, 1 that channels all her rage, and begins to crack down on 3. Everyone pleads for her to stop, but she has so much channeled anger that she can't hear them. She eventually kills and shatters 3. Realizing what she has done, 1 begins freaking out and panicking, along with everyone else. Even with 1 freaking out, she sees everyone afraid of her and believes she's the victim, believing no one would care if she was killed. But as she once again sees the situation for what it is, she uses the power to recover 3. Unfortunately her power is not enough and instead 3 is recovered distorted and glitching. Everyone is worried for 3 as she is not her normal self. 1 tries apologizing to her but 3 declines. So 1 deduces that with more power she can fully recover 3. But it is too late as all the power from the Yoilita has been taken. With this breaking 1, she is seen by 4 who goes after her in order to protect X and everyone. With 1 freaking out and trying to plead to 4 decides that 1 must be kept away. 1 freaks out more because she does not want to be alone anymore, and starts pleading to everyone to help her because she is about to be sent away, but no one is on her side. So 4 realizes that they must seal 1 away on the moon since she will be far away and unable to leave. As they seal her away, 1 changes from pleading for her life to vowing vengeance on all of them for doing this to her. With 1 sealed up on the moon, she can do nothing but think about all the pain that has just occurred to her, being alone once again, along with growing resentment of 4 and all the others. She is then trapped on the moon to do nothing but sit around, stuck with the memories of her horrible actions, and be alone for so long. She grows depressed and hurt and vengeful and evil. That is until Donut transfers the Earth to the moon, making it easy for lightning to strike it when crashing out, leading to the moon fragile enough for her escape. She takes the opportunity and gets out. With 1 out of the moon, it's actually quite a while before she actually does something on screen. That's because she spends this time beginning her plan and stuff, so we don't see her on screen throughout these episodes. Thankfully, TPOT 20 fills in the blanks with answers. As soon as one is out of the moon, she sees 2, 4 and X. This gives her the idea of wanting to destroy 4 and X. But she notices the competition as well. This makes her gather some information on what is going on. She gathers info that the competition is happening, and is able to find out about the contestants in the exit. Throughout her watch behind the shadows, this is all she does, conduct research about the situation, and realizes this is a competition and that 4 has a realm inside of him and has contestants trapped in there. While in the exit, she finds 3 and this brings back her guilt, and she emphasizes that her ultimate goal is to recover 3 by getting more power. While she's still watching the competition, she sees 4 and X discussing about her whereabouts, and she dreams of just killing them. So this becomes another goal for her as well. From the notes she's gathered, she has some key elements written, such as a competition happening, 4 having a pocket dimension, and having containment of some contestants. As one continues stalking the contestants, she underlines pocket dimension and containment as a highlight for her. Maybe she sees how vulnerable contestants are when in a pocket dimension and contained, so she decides that's how she should manipulate people. TPOT 12 is when she begins her debut. Off-screen, one is watching the competition continue, and when Belle and Bommy are eliminated, she sees this as an opportunity to snatch her first victims. However, Basketball notices this. This is also the first time she's seen and speaks since TPOT 9, so this is her official debut, but her deals with Bommy and Belle are off-screen. With pocket dimension and containment highlighted in her notes, she creates her own version of the exit along with a door to the Algebralians' world, which confirms my speculation I had a while back on the kidnapped contestants video where I said this was one's exit. With one remembering her goal to kill 4 and X, she begins making her contracts with that goal in mind. With her ready to talk to Belle and Bommy in a very sophisticated room in her pocket dimension, she begins to ask them what does freedom mean to them, and begins to bestow a vision on them surrounded in darkness and alone. This makes them extremely vulnerable and more vulnerable than they already were. So she simply states to sign the contract and that she promises she will never do that again. So they both quickly without hesitation sign the contract and are sent to the other side of one's pocket dimension. It's not shown in TPOT 20, but in TPOT 12, one does go back to contestant grounds and randomizes the teams. With her knowledge of the competition thus far, she probably had some dynamics in mind that would cause shenanigans. After these deeds she's committed, she comes up with her plan. 2 and 4 have lots of power, so she must take their power first, and then move on to the other Algebralians to take their power as well, and finally use that power to recover 3. When she makes this plan, she decided to go back to the Algebralian world. While there she begins to have traumatic flashbacks to when she killed 3, but as she calms down, she notices 6 is all alone, and when she goes back to the Yoelida crash site, she vows that all the Algebralians will be alone. With this concluded, she goes back and notices Fanny without a mouth. Noticing this is unusual, she uses her background knowledge on the contestants and kidnaps her. Basketball has noticed this kidnapping as well. She takes Fanny to her pocket dimension and tries to calm her down and calmly propose that they should make a deal. Fanny refuses, but one bribed her with a new mouth. As Fanny tries taking the mouth herself, one tells her that's not how this will work and begins to continue manipulating her by saying she's just trying to do her a favor, or otherwise she can just continue without a mouth. But if Fanny agrees to the deal, she assures that she just owes a favor. With Fanny eased down but still in doubt, she finally assured Fanny that she's an old friend of 2 and just wants to help his friends. This is enough for Fanny, so she signs the deal. Next on one side is Ice Cube, whom she notices that Ice Cube has no legs. As she approaches Ice Cube, who's inside the moon, Ice Cube is startled, but she quiets her down. She immediately bribes Ice Cube with new legs, but when Ice Cube starts questioning, one immediately interrupts with the idea of a deal. With Ice Cube severely disabled, she has no choice but to agree to the deal. After these deals are made, one wonders if the other Algebralians are on this planet, so she searches the forest, where she notices Basketball is stalking her. One then kidnaps Basketball. Instead of immediately making a deal, she kinda leaves Basketball on read. As she leaves Basketball in there, she continues her usual routine of stalking and finds out 2 has become best friends with Gady, so Gady becomes a huge target for her. She searches for any other numbers until she stumbles upon Theory and Leafy. Something about them catches her attention, but she leaves. Later, as she's still stalking, she notices Eraser and Pen watching a show and sees Pencil being a menace and killing large amounts of people. This catches her attention and records that Pencil is a menace. She also noticed Fury and Leafy on the show, which reminds her of them on a stranded island. So she begins to watch the first season of BFDI to catch up on the lore. When she watches the episode of Needle's cake causing a storm, this inspires her to make a storm of her own. She unleashes it on the area where Fury and Leafy are and uses this to kidnap Leafy. As she stared at Fury being desperate, she returns back to her pocket dimension and brings the storm to the teapot area. Basketball then demands what one wants with her, but one claps back with her playing around with Basketball's wish of returning Robot Flower back to her normal state. With Basketball offering some basic logic of not knowing who one is, one uses some footage of Basketball not liking when things don't go away and rubs it in her face, which she uses as a way to connect back to her. The storm grows stronger and this begins the cake at stake. In the Exeter debut results, she watched and realizes that Pencil only received the second most votes. With her recalling to Pencil being a menace, she realizes she could use Pencil to her advantage and rewrites the board to have 2 contestants come back. With Pencil successfully and along with Lai, one continues watching the results and watches Needle and Barf Bag get eliminated. She takes both of them and makes a deal with them. One uses Pain on Barf Bag to get her to sign the contract and she uses Needle's fear of being alone and stuck to get her to sign the contract. Both are transported to the other side of one's pocket dimension where they find Belle and Bommy. This forms the kidnapped contestants group and they journey throughout the pocket dimension towards the door they see in the distance. The challenge involving the storm begins, and after some shenanigans, Robot Flower is restarted, and must now be brought back to her previous state. One uses this to her advantage and begins to threaten Basketball with the idea of bringing Robot Flower back as even more deadly and dangerous. Basketball argued back saying that one has so much power that a deal with her shouldn't matter so much, and she should just fix Robot Flower. One realizes she does have lots of power, but she doesn't have nearly as much as 2, and needs it to recover 3. One then begins a countdown on Basketball for the deal, and she also shows Needle and Barf Bag stranded as a way to intimidate Basketball. As the timer nearly finishes, Basketball signs the contract at the last second. With the contract signed, one is ready to release Basketball, but Basketball asks if one will end the storm. One then says that she has changed her mind on that and wishes her luck, but she does keep her end of the deal with Robot Flower. Basketball does manage to get the idea of Black Hole ending the storm. However, this whole time, one has had Leafy on the back burner. One hasn't decided what to do with Leafy yet, but she does keep her imprisoned in a state where she's trapped and can only watch the horrors that are happening. One decided to take a step back on the next competition, but her eyes are caught on Gady as she sees Gady has been eliminated and is now in the kitchen. So one fateful day, one sets up the events by guiding the failed debuters to golf ball and tennis balls Yoelita that they found after the storm and caused the debuters to be transported all throughout the timeline, causing anomalies and destruction and doom. This creates the perfect time to kidnap Gady for a deal. However, Gady is more hesitant than she thought since one forgot about the fact that Gady is a close friend of 2, so the facade that one is an old friend of 2 does not work on her. With Gady insulting one about this not working on anyone, one shows how many contestants she has made deals with. With Gady shocked that the missing contestants were kidnapped by her, Gady asks what they agree to. One explains simply that they agreed to get out of here, but Gady questions that they never made it back, but one reveals her loophole that she never told them she'd send them back to contestant grounds. She then reveals to Gady where the kidnapped contestants are. After showing these atrocities, one teases Gady on how she's gonna get her to sign. During the episode, the contestants only remember the disrupted timeline, but with the power of the Yoelita golf ball and tennis ball revealed earlier, she is able to help the contestants remember the original timeline. Revealing this to Gady, Gady wonders why she would do this. One reveals it's to cause more damage on the timeline. But she uses this as an opportunity for Gady to sing before things get worse, but Gady continues wondering if the effort one is putting is really worth it, but one laughs it off and continues the plan. Well, one was correct about the original timeline being remembered causing more damage, because after an attempt at restoring the timeline, it all crumbles after a buildup of anomalies and the final straw being Leafy entering Dream Island. As the timeline is about to end due to too much damage, Gady watches in horror as the timeline is quite literally crumbling and everyone is about to die. With one using this as bait, Gady once again uses logic wondering if one would really let this happen. But one is more powerful than this and assures that she's safe here and that she will just find another way to get more power without them. With Gady being tested as she watches all of her friends facing certain death, she ultimately signs the contract. With this contract signed, one assures that she will restore everything, but Gady also asks if she will send her back, but one remains quiet on that part. With Gady asking one more time, one upholds her end of the deal. With the timeline being restored, The cost was not only a crack in the universe still being left, but Gady was ultimately erased from the timeline. This is confirmed when 2 enters the kitchen and not only notices Gady is not there, he finds a picture of the two of them only to see that Gady is not on the picture. After the events of TPOT 15, one finally brings Leafy to the chair after so long of being imprisoned. As soon as Leafy is released, one begins to mimic her in a rude manner and laughs at her. She then falsely believes this is the first time Leafy is alone and tries to use it against her, but Leafy has been alone before, so it doesn't do the damage one thinks it does. So as one begins to explain that she will harm Fury unless Letty makes a deal with her, Leafy calls out to one that she is not a nice person. One takes offense to this, but Leafy continues and says one is at the bottom of list of niceness and asks to let her go. She can explain. One, confused but intrigued, lets her go, so Leafy breaks out her chart of niceness and begins to harshly tell her how one will most likely end up sad and alone being this rude. One, startled by this, watches as Leafy continues roasting her. One is angered and tries to insult Letty, but Leafy interrupts her by throwing books around, accidentally harming her by trying to help and look BC for tips. But one gets so angry that she charges towards Leafy, but one begins to shoot at her. Leafy deflects it and uses her knife to leave some damage on one's chair to use as a reminder of her misdeeds. But one, so angered, flies up and charges towards her again, so Leafy blocks it with her books and berates one about how she went down a number because she found a kiln that is already nicer than her, and continues berating her about how one will end up alone for a very long time. One, offended since it's kinda true, just kicks Leafy out and decides she didn't need her anyways and Fury won't be much of a threat anyways. She is shown to continue to stalk in the next challenge and finally prepares her next deal in the challenge after that. During this time, it is revealed that the research Fanny and Ice Cube have conducted on one can only be seen by them and no one else, so she's been causing the signs of her as gibberish nonsense so no one suspects a thing. She pulls Donut but is then distracted by the fact that the kidnapped contestants have finally entered the Algebralian world. One watches as they find 6 and head off towards 4's door as 6 tells them that 1 was meant to be gone. As she watches, Donut begins to question what's happening, but 1 is kinda grumpy since she's been through so many deals and she's had enough to deal with after Leafy's shenanigans, so she tries to go through the deal as quickly as she can and bribes Donut with his arms. As Donut is about to be sucked into the deal, he then questions what's in the contract. 1 angrily tells him that it is not important and that many already signed. As she watches what's happening in the Algebralian world, she notices Donut already leaving, so she takes a look at the contract, but she notices he didn't sign, so she forcefully pulls him back and gets threatening. She then reveals what she's been doing. She confesses she's been watching the contestants for quite a while, and was delaying her visit with Donut because she had a feeling he would chase problems. She mentions that the kidnapped contestants are getting close to the other door, so she needs to get ready and pressure Donut to sign the deal. Donut questions more about what 1 gains from them, but she begins to start cracking and just says she's just trying to help them, and even says the kidnapped contestants are having a lot of fun right now after signing the contract. Donut begins to see more holes since he realizes she's the one that's been taking the kissing contestants, so he angrily asks why would he ever sign it, so 1 begins cracking down. She pressures him with the loss of his arms, but Donut admits he does need his arms, but he wants to make sure the contract hurts nobody. 1 brushes it aside by bringing up how he's been through so much lately and how he's had to deal with his disaster if a team, and how Pencil has been such a troublemaker and how frustrating it is that he's been the one that has had to deal with it. So she continues pressuring him by telling him that he's been so selfless that he should just be a little selfish for himself. But Donut sees this as the final straw and kicks 1 and tries to run away, but 1, so angered, crashes the fuck out and begins to tear off his legs and laughs at how disabled he is now. She is very frustrated about this encounter and continues watching the kidnapped contestants as they arrive at 4's exit door and attempt to open it. Later, 1 has been dealing with so much that she takes a look at the moon and gets so angered about how she was trapped in there that she unleashed the next doomsday event and begins amplifying the anomalies from the rift in the sky. It begins to shoot out anomalies throughout the land, but the contestants use 2's power that has been divided equally among them to shield them, but the shield causes the anomaly to deflect and affect the sky, causing the sky to turn all black with anomalies going wild and the world in shambles. With TV hosting as a distraction from this doomsday event, he's eliminated and uses his sneakiness caused from the realization that no one cares about mechanical lives to make the challenge a battle royale so contestants can duke it the fuck out and see who remains on top. With this sets up 1's plan. Pencil has caused so much havoc that it takes 1's notice, and she's satisfied with how it's working out like she had hoped. Meanwhile, the kidnapped contestants enter 4's exit and they try entering the classroom that contains the escape. As the challenge continues, 1 summons Donut once again, where she ready to pull out all the techniques. She notices 2's power that Donut has and wants it. She begins to reveal how she has her powers from the Yoilita and how if it weren't for the failed debutors leading her to it, Gady would still be here. Which is where she reveals that Gady has been erased from the timeline to Donut. She explains how the contracts the contestants have been signing have actually been them seeking themselves to her for her to erase. She uses this as bait to get Donut to give her 2's power, which he rejects. So she uses her power to erase another contestant. Which she reveals to Donut that Barf Bag has been erased from the timeline. She threatens Donut that another contestant will get erased if he doesn't hand it over, which he stupidly with his dumbass self says cut it out to her. Like out of character, but why did he say that? He's actually so dumb, because she uses this to erase another contestant, which he desperately tries taking back. And due to Donut's stupidity from his dumb self, caused basketball to get erased from the timeline. We really lost a peak character to Donut's dumbass. I actually hate Donut for this. So Donut finally signs the contract, to which 1 kicks him out. So this causes 1 to fully focus on Pencil. She notices Black Hole trying to reduce the effects of the rift, so she kidnaps him and takes him to her room. She turns the challenge in Pencil's favor and leads it to the point that she is the second last contestant standing, and she finally takes her built-up anger about how 4 trapped her out on him. So she takes his power and just beats the hell out of him, to which she coldly intends on killing him. 1 catches 4 on time and holds on to him for now. She meets up with Pencil and begins to finally enact what she's been planning all along. She used Pencil's fragile state to tell her about how she's been rooting for Pencil this whole time and how she lead Pencil to join the game and wants to help Pencil. She keeps pressuring Pencil by bringing up the fact that Pencil has lost all her friends and how she's all alone, and even comforts her by telling Pencil that she was trapped in the moon for years and just wants the power Pencil has to ensure that 4 never traps anyone again. With Pencil still having doubt, 1 begins cracking down and telling Pencil that she has broken so much that she can't fix anything and won't get her friends back, but if she starts over by handing 1 the power, she can have a second chance. Pencil gives in and 1 finally succeeds in getting 2 and 4's power. She goes haywire and confronts 4 after so long. 4 tries explaining how the power she has is too ouch and that she was supposed to take her time on the moon to reflect, so 1 finally gets her revenge and seals 4 in the moon. She then uses the power to mess around with the universe and distorts some aliens, transforms Earth and kicks it away. She then goes off throughout space where she can finally begin looking for the other Algebralians. As she continues her search, she first finds 9, who's on a planet with some weird skateboard creatures. 9 has taken inspiration from 3 about repairing things, so when 9 spends his time bonding with these creatures, 1 stares in the disc trance with raging fueling her overload and destroys the planet with 1 shot 360 no scope. With 1 startled and scared wondering what the hell just happened, he sees 1 has found her and he panics with 1 kidnapping him. And that is the latest we see of 1.
Found you!
Now, as you have noticed, in each arrow 1 had throughout her character, I've gathered some key elements that will be needed for later. Well, later is now. You might be wondering why I listed these traits of 1 specifically instead of just recapping key moments in 1's history. Well, that's because we need these key elements of 1 to determine what makes 1 spooky. You see, these elements I listed of 1, are key traits of sociopaths. Now the average person would have 0 or maybe half of a trait, depending on yourself. It is not normal to have at least 3 in each era of yourself. So I believe it's safe to say that 1 is a sociopath. And you might bring up that being trapped on the moon might make you gain these traits, but looking at 1 before the incident, I think 1 was born to be evil. Yeah, it's true, some people are just brown with their brains wired to be different, some are more sinister than others, and oh boy is 1 sinister alright. Since the beginning 1 has shown various traits such as being impulsive, and sure, being impulsive can be a common trait, but the thing with 1 is that she never learned to stop. At the very least someone impulsive could recognize that this is a flaw and they can work on it. That's not 1. She is not only impulsive, she's easily angered. She takes her anger out many times. And you might say it's anger from being alone, and that is true. But even when she's with 3, she was not only easily angered, she was extremely hostile towards her as well, when 3 was simply trying to study the Yoilita. Mind you, this was before 1 realized the full potential of the Yoilita. The second she gained the powers, she not only wanted more, she wanted to be the only one. She was power-hungry from the start. Unlike 3 who recognized that this power is life-changing and beneficial for everyone. 1 was indeed meant to be evil, because she's a sociopath. Now keep in mind that being a sociopath is actually a severe case of antisocial personality disorder. So it could be possible that 1 actually wasn't meant to be evil as I claim, but rather she gained these traits after being alone for so long. Antisocial personality disorder can be caused by being neglected at such a young age, so could 1 have developed this as a result of being alone? This is most likely the case. But that does lead to 1 not just not knowing social cues and stuff, but she has begun to form a lack of remorse, becoming more aggressive and hostile, and ultimately just not being a good person. So it's not just because 1 doesn't want to be alone, it's that she's become a bad person who has a lack of empathy for anyone and for all the atrocities she has caused. She is manipulative, hostile, and deceitful. She makes excuses for herself when she kills 3, and even tries justifying herself by claiming that if she died no one would care. She really doesn't know the full extent of her actions, because when she killed and permanently damaged 3, she treats it as just one mistake, word for word literally says she messed up. Girl, you literally caused someone to be disabled. Even when she escapes, she has no problem with stalking all these guys and use them to her advantage and personal gain for more power. And sure, she may excuse it by thinking it's for a good cause, which is to recover 3, but literally look at all the damage she's caused now with all the power she's obtained. She kicked Earth out of the solar system and permanently damaged Earth, might I add, disrupted a planet, kicked the moon away, and destroyed a whole fucking planet. And she feels no remorse for doing all that. Not to mention what she did to get to that point. Her extreme aggression and hostility was really show towards Gady and Donut. She was willing to destroy a whole timeline just for a contract. Yeah, this bitch crazy. And what she did for Donut when he didn't sign the contract either, she revealed her true colors, and when he kicked her away, she made sure he was limbless and laughed about it too. If that doesn't scream sociopath, I don't know what will. Let's take a look back at when she has caused all the anomalies after TPOT 15. Her worst actions at this point in time is erasing Gady off the timeline, imprisoning Leafy for months, and caused so much destruction in the timeline that there is a permanent crack in the sky. She finally frees Leafy and begins her deal with her. When Leafy rightfully calls her not nice and a terrible person, 1 has the nerve to say that is not true. Mind you, she has killed Gady and caused damage to the timeline for 1 deal, and she thinks Leafy is not telling the truth. Even when Leafy brings up her points, 1 still tries defending her by saying Leafy can't just say that and that Leafy has no right to say this. 1 wholeheartedly believes she's in the right. She killed Gady, by the way. 1 is a sociopath to the core. She has a kill count of 3 contestants, maybe 4 after she got 9, and she's doing all this for no reason. Her main goal is to recover 3 and eliminate the Algebralians. She manipulated innocents, trapped contestants in her pocket dimension, bounded contestants to contracts, killed 3 of them, all in the name of getting power. 1 did not plan this strategically as shown in TPOT 20, she did all of this impulsively. Her decision-making was reckless and irresponsible as she made most of these on the go. She didn't do this all for the plan, she did this for fun. Which is why I believe she's a sociopath, which is what I think makes 1 a scary, intimidating threat. In conclusion, 1's extensive history of loneliness and her incident of killing and disabling 3 that lead her to being imprisoned on the moon launched her in becoming a great and scary villain in TPOT. Making deals, imprisoning contestants, and killing 3 contestants truly makes her an intimidating threat. Along with her clear signs of being a sociopath and having no remorse for her actions truly solidifies her as terrifying. A villain who has certainly been through a lot, but her unjustifiable actions towards the contestants reeks of sociopath behavior and makes her a spooky and terrifying villain for TPOT. I really enjoyed seeing 1's plan unfold, and I'm excited to see what happens next. It was a pleasure analyzing 1, and don't forget to have a happy Halloween. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe por favor, and goodbye.